7:03. I will call the meeting to order and then suspend the meeting for public comment. We have a representative from the Connecticut Timberwolves. Craig, just name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Craig Bergamo from Connecticut Timberwolves, Vice President there.
Address, please.
43 Iron Gate Road, Trumbull, Connecticut. I'm requesting Unity Park for the dates of July 6th and July 7th for a 10U softball tournament. Probably would house around 75 players with the teams and of use of Unity 4 and 5. And access to the bathrooms would be great if they could be left open for that. We also have talked to Trumbull Little League, and there is no conflict with any dates due to the season's over at that point. And I believe that is it.
Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday?
Saturday, Sunday.
And have you spoken with the rec department as far as fees, and have you been in contact with them at all? I know they did they had the tournament there last year.
Yep, so that would go through Kyle, the scheduling for that. But I will tell you that there is a game conflict on Sunday in here. It is not Little League.
It isn't? What field are we looking at?
Which fields was it that you had said you needed?
It was 4 and 5. The softball.
Nope, then you should be good.
The softball fields.
Yep, there's a game on 6, so you
Okay.
should be fine. Everything else is open.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wait, 6 is the T-ball field? Oh, Babe Ruth. Okay. I didn't realize. I always call it the Babe Ruth field. I didn't realize I gave it a number. That's the first time I've ever heard that 6. Okay.
So Unity 1 and then the Babe Ruth field.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You guys are getting it ahead of us now. Yeah, so that shouldn't be a problem. And I don't think parking would be a problem with only 75 people there. So
Yeah, no, it pretty much will just be right in front of where the outfield area is for 4 and 5.
and then they'll be slotted in the field use policy where they fit. Okay. How did it go last year?
Went great last year, and then we have a tournament the beginning of June for the 12U. So it's we already had that approved back in, I think, December. But yeah, last year it went great. Enough parking, and then bathrooms, everything was good. Weather was great too. So
Okay. Any questions?
They have the Little League District tournament. Don't they usually have that around July 4th?
that's the weekend prior to that. That's the districts for the softball. You mean, right?
Oh,
No.
For baseball. They have the 10, 11, and
All-Stars tournament.
12-year-old all-star districts. We've hosted them a few years. They did have them at Blackham one year. I'm not sure if we're hosting them this year at Little League. Would know.
They haven't come to us. Wouldn't they
We
get?
have not gotten that request yet. And my understanding is that Timberwolves had already met with Little League to discuss this particular
Right.
weekend. So my guess is that perhaps they're starting the following weekend if they do plan on having them at Unity.
Or maybe they don't have them there this year.
Right. They might just be at Island Brook
Because
this
usually
year
they
also.
have
That's
to
also another.
usually they have to be pretty far in advance for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's possible that they're not hosting this year. It's possible that they only have certain age groups, so they're at a different park, because last year they were at both Unity and Island Brook for the different age groups. But we have not received that request yet.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. We'll discuss it later, and we'll let you know.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Doesn't look like there's anyone else here for public comment. So, do I have a motion to close the floor to public comment? John, second. Rodney. Okay. All in favor? Okay. So move back to our meeting. Minutes, do we have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the monthly minutes of March? No. They're pretty straightforward. If none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of March?
I'll make a motion to.
Second? Bruce, all in favor? Okay, so moved. Correspondence. The only correspondence I got was from the Connecticut Timberwolves. Did you get anything? No. Okay, no, it was kind of a quiet month, which is unusual with this spring season, with the start of all the athletic stuff, but I didn't get anything, which is a good sign. It means the rec department's on everything. Good. Okay. Old business. Is there any old business that we need to discuss? Rodney?
The one thing I have on my notes here from last meeting was to follow up next meeting about the Davido Park. I was hoping that Dimitri was going to be here so he can just get an idea of like if it would even be on the radar. But I kind of went back there a little bit more and looked at it. It's like 100 yards of a path to make it a full path. But I don't even know the first thing about like where even to start or how that would even happen. So like I said, Dimitri wasn't.
Or if it's even ours.
I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that it is town land. Yeah, Davido Park. I think we talked about that right after the meeting. And it's on the, like if you go to where you can see people's everybody's property on the satellite vision that's on the town website. It's identified as Trumbull property of the town. So, but that's the only thing I had on here.
We'll keep that under old business so we can bring it up next week. And Matt may even know if Matt's here next month.
Okay. Yeah. Again, it's just more of like what, if, and how.
All right.
You could probably try to get in touch with Dimitri directly.
Yeah, I can do that.
It's more efficient.
Yeah. All right. And just ask him. Okay.
Yeah.
You email him or something?
Yeah.
Anything else under old business?
Ooh, I actually have a little update for you. So, unfortunately, the Fairfield County Theater Company is not doing their production of Hair. They reached out to us and they couldn't pull it together.
Oh, it had nothing to do with us?
Nothing to do with us. They realized that it was a bit more expensive than what they had initially anticipated when they really sat down and like figured it out. So unfortunately, it just isn't going to work out for them right now. They said that they won't ever do it. It just right now it isn't the right time for them.
Yeah, that's a shame because that would have been good.
Yeah. But now BMX is able to use the track that weekend because originally the park was going to be fully closed. So now they actually have access to it, which is kind of nice.
Okay. For just their
Oh,
regular
just their
stuff?
own. Yeah. Because their nationals are 2 weeks after that. So originally they were going to be shut down for the weekend, and now they don't have to be, which is kind of nice.
Okay, we're still under old business. If nothing else under old business, we'll go to new business. And the new business thus far is the Connecticut Timberwolves. Any discussion on that? No discussion, someone needs to make a motion or?
I remember they had a tournament, or they had something in, well, they brought it up earlier this past year, or last year. Like, someone else came, wasn't that guy. So what he said about December, I feel like, or am I making that up?
You feel like nobody came in December?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Jeff came last time.
He did come in December. Oh, is this not Jeff?
That was Craig.
Yeah, Jeff
Jeff
came in
couldn't make it
December.
tonight. Jeff,
Came in December.
Okay, I'm not making it up.
Angela Wolf's down.
good memory.
At Unity for June 8th, yeah.
It's their 2 age groups.
Yeah.
So,
But that's already been voted on.
all right. So what did we voted yes on that one, I assume? All in favor?
So,
Oh, somebody needs to make a motion.
oh, on this one?
Yeah.
I
This
make
is-
a motion to approve the Timberwolves request for Unity on whatever date
June 6th and 7th.
for U10 girls softball tournament.
We need a second.
I'll second that.
July. July 6th and 7th.
I'll second.
John second. All in favor? Unanimous, so moved. Still under new business. Any new business?
Well, I was sort of surprised to see signs for the Trumbull Farmers Market being at Unity Park, since we hadn't.
Twin
heard-
Brooks. I mean,
Or Twin
Brooks.
Brooks, sorry. So Noreen, I'm assuming that's like town sponsored, or is it Parks and Rec sponsored?
So the farmers market is being run through Parks and Recreation. We are starting on May 23rd through October 4th. We're keeping Thursdays from 4 to 7 p.m. because that's when our vendors can do. Essentially what happened was that the NIA approached us that they were no longer able to do it, and they had heard that we might have an interest in it. We absolutely did, and we're pulling it together. So
So we're going to allow out-of-town cars
yes.
to come in for 4 to 7. Now, where in Unity, I mean Twin Brooks, is it behind the bathrooms? That big field?
Exactly. So that field, honestly, Erica and I were down there today. We braved the floodwaters and we walked around. It's going to be from where the bathroom is. There'll be vendors on both sides, right where that first big tree is over there. And then it'll curve up the pathway and it'll go all the way up. And then we will have just like, guy and a guitar singing as far as accompaniment goes for some background music. So it should be really non-invasive. They'll be off the walkway. So everyone that's walking there still can have that organic foot traffic, and shoppers, it'll be super accessible for them. They won't have to be trekking through a ball field to get there. It'll be on a paved path.
Yeah. There's not a ton of parking, though.
So between the three lots, there's actually a lot more than you think. So there's the gravel lot, which is very easy to walk from the front to the gravel lot.
So that's parking available there
That
now?
parking is available. Yep.
Is it going to stay gravel?
For now, yes. Yeah. And then the vendors are actually, we had a strategy meeting with Chief Chapman, and the vendors are actually going to park kind of straddling the grass on the far side of like the main parking lot. So they'll kind of build a barrier over there, so to say. And then that frees up all of that parking. So the vendors won't be affecting parking essentially.
I could picture patrons parking on the grass too, though.
I don't think that there will be any room for them.
Okay.
We have 20 vendors. So if each vendor has 1 to 2 vehicles, that's 40 cars right there. That'll be full. And then there will be a ranger down at the park the entire time
that's
as
what I'm-
well.
yeah, that's what I'm
So we won't be checking parking stickers, but they still will be enforcing that, like you can't park on the beach or anything like that.
In food trucks or no?
No food trucks. There will be like food vendors, but there will not be any like physical food trucks.
That seems like a great spot.
Is the bear guy coming?
We can't have alcohol in the park.
I know. So how we going to get that brewery? That's what I figured.
And then
Yeah, it should. So in all actuality, we really did. We evaluated all the different spaces. And really the two prime that kind of came up was Unity, the pavilion down at Unity, which is not very accessible from the road per se. Like you don't have that presence up at the road. However, you're kind of in a park that already has a ton of organic foot traffic, and it's kind of the same demographics as to who we would get anyway. However, that road that's down, because the ponds are getting redone down there, so that road is getting torn up. So that was really not even able to be carried out. So then our other two options were really looking at, Indian Ledge, and do we disrupt all of youth sports and not allow them to have a season? Wasn't really viable. So that's how we landed on Twin Brooks. And honestly, it's such a good space. That like field is really nice. And like I said, these vendors are not going to be on the like walking path. So it really shouldn't affect the people that just go there just to walk around. They're still going to have the ability to do that. It's just that there's going to be, you know, if you want to stop and buy some tomatoes, you're going to have that ability.
No.
And how does it work? The vendors pay a rental fee for
Yeah.
their space?
Yep, exactly. So we're sold out on spaces. We basically reached out to any of the vendors that kind of met our criteria that have been at the event in the past. And so they rented their spaces depending on their size is how much they're getting charged. So your 30 by 30 space costs more than a 10 by 10 space. And they will all be assigned a spot where they go. We have it all worked out how setup and breakdown is going to go with help from the rangers to be able to pull cars onto the walking path so that they can unload and then move their vehicles right away. That way there's no traffic blocking. And again, kind of the timing that happens, setup really happens around like 2 p.m., which is when the park's the emptiest because everyone's doing school pickups. And then, you know, sunset when the park empties out anyway. So it should time out very, very, very nicely.
So is this generating revenue for us or a break-even kind of thing?
It should generate some revenue. Again, there's not really any expenses that we're taking on with the fact of like the rangers are working anyway. So the fact that there's a ranger down there, they're on anyway. We have hired an events person. So the fact that she's there doesn't make a difference. She's at the concerts also. So it shouldn't cost us much money aside from some signage that we're going to be putting up. That should really be the only expense that we have.
Cool.
No, I think that's good. And you should get good exposure there with just the people driving through.
Yep.
And all the people walking there that don't even know that that's there. They're going to come back and support that.
Exactly. And again, people love that park that don't necessarily have access to that park usually. So the fact that the non-residents are able to come in during that time, I think will also draw in a pretty big crowd too. So should be fun. Should be a lot of fun.
Do you have a number for like how many parking spaces there are?
It is somewhere in the hundreds. That is off the top of my head. There's a couple 100 spaces down
They
there.
used to have that on Long Hill Green. And
Yeah.
there's no parking.
There's none.
So
There's
if they
zero.
were able to handle it there,
No,
it's going to
no,
be a
no.
luxury.
When they had it on Long Hill Green, it was pretty pathetic.
Oh, it
there were
was-
like 3 farmers, and yeah,
Oh,
it was kind of not.
Yeah, and then they outgrew that space. My understanding is that had been run like through the town, and then it kind of moved over to the NIA, and now it's back to us. So
Yeah, it was much nicer at the NIA, but this should be good too.
I mean, between those 3 lots, and it's not like it's the weekend. It should
right,
be
and there's
fine.
there's a pretty good like turnover rate. Like if
Right,
people are stopping
right.
and purchasing something, then they're gonna grab
Right.
grab their tomatoes and keep on
It's not
going.
like a 2-hour concert where everybody goes
Right.
and stays. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I am curious to see though if like how these concerts, how people show up at 3 p.m. If we'll have the, let's see if we're starting at 4, if we'll have the 1 p.m. people staked out waiting for their vendors to show up. I'm very curious to see if that's going to happen.
Okay, we're still under new business. Bruce?
Speaking of Twin Brooks, should we be concerned that it's flooding? Is all of the construction and the reconstruction of that stream, it was a large $2 million project, and it's still closed most of this week. I don't know if they're planning on opening it today or tomorrow, but the stream flooded the park like it usually does. I don't know if we should be concerned about that or if
Noreen,
that's...
Yep,
You have
there
an
is
answer?
no reason to be concerned about that at all. So this is kind of like a 2-part thing. So the restoration project is doing exactly what it should. If you notice, that neighborhood did not flood in the last month. And if this wasn't working properly, that neighborhood definitely would have flooded. Like I jokingly said before, Erica and I we walked through there today because we were looking for some triathlon stuff. So we did the whole walk through. And so the problem is that there are only gates in certain locations at Twin Brooks currently. I think Dimitri's spoken to you guys about this before, so I apologize if he has and I'm repeating it or if this is new. So currently, there's only gates at the entrance and at the rear exit. There is nothing in between. So if you go down to Twin Brooks, you can tell the two areas where the water is coming over the roadway. The problem is that the water that's coming over the roadway has a current because it's going from one pond to the other. So since it has a current that is pushing, it's a public safety hazard. So that's why they keep closing the whole park down instead of just closing down sections. So this whole week, the waterfall lot's been open because there's no safety concern back there whatsoever. It's just that the main road can't be open because of this public safety concern. Again, if it was up past the shoes that I have on, I would be shocked. It was no deeper than, 2 to 3 inches. However, again, I felt comfortable walking through 2 to 3 inches, but I could completely understand how somebody with mobility issues or pushing a stroller would not feel comfortable with that. The other factor is that March was the rainiest March on record. So unfortunately, that water needs somewhere to go that's coming down, and it's just sitting in Twin Brooks right now.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else under new business? Okay, if not, we'll move on to superintendent's report. Matt had emailed a report out that I
Yeah, separately.
sent on to everyone. Yeah, he got in a little bit late for the agenda, so I just sent it on myself there. Okay, division report. You also have the ranger report from Chief Ranger Chapman. If you have any questions, maybe Noreen can address those on the ranger report. If not, then we can move on to the recreation report where we have Noreen right here. You got a lot of stuff going on.
This is my favorite time of the year. This is our busiest time of the year. So we have registration for everything is open, starting to sell out. We've got pickleball galore. We have a ton of our summer staff is returning. I actually just finished up camp interviews right before I came here. So we are hiring the few that we need to replace, and everyone else is coming back from last year, which is very, very nice. Like I said, we have a lot of pickleball reservations. And since I sent this out last week to now, we are over 2,000 registrations for everything going on this summer.
Right.
And we are probably at like 350 pickleball reservations, which is great. It's definitely up from last year, but I think people have finally figured out what they need to do to be able to book a court and everything.
Has it been a little bit calmer for you with the pickleball reservations?
It came in one big wave this time instead of kind of trickling through a week. They all knew exactly what date they could come, and they did. So it worked out well. I would say we had 20 minutes of chaos instead of like a week of chaos.
But the complaints and things have been better.
Yes, I would definitely say so. I'd say that there's an improvement. This is also, they've only been out there playing for, a couple of days now. So,
But at least they understand the whole social play and all the
Yes.
different facets that they can
Yes.
be involved in.
And I will say the senior center changed their times. Last year they had done they did like Wednesday, Friday, and this year they're doing Tuesday, Thursday because they've changed their time of indoors. So they have indoors Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So now they have the outdoors rented for Tuesday, Thursday. And that didn't seem to affect anything. I thought for sure we were going to get some pushback that, last year that was my reservation time. We haven't heard anything about it. So people just kind of adapted.
Noreen, when the senior center has it on Tuesday, Thursday, it's morning, right?
Yep.
Do they get all 6 courts?
Nope, they only want 2.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they only have about 20 players because they only have 1 court at their facility. So they only have about 20 players that play. So they really only need those 2 courts.
And when can you make them for the next month?
The Monday before the month starts.
Okay.
So they were able to do it. I feel like it was March 25th, but I might be making that up. That's just the date that's jumping out to me. It was whatever the Monday before the 1st was.
And do you have to come into the rec office?
No.
You can do it
No,
online?
you can do it online, but if you do it online before that date, we delete it and we send you a little love letter that says that we're not accepting reservations until the date.
Is there any, when you're online, can you tell if a court's already been reserved?
Yes,
Oh,
it
good.
will not let you. You can't overbook something. So that goes for all of our reservations. So if a field's already booked, if a court's already booked, it will not let you overbook it.
How busy are the night reservations for Tashua? People like
That's
playing
not
under
our
the lights?
busiest time slot. Our
It's not-
busiest time slot is actually the 5 to 7 p.m. That's when we are, I would safely say every single court is booked. But that late night, we surprisingly don't have as many.
And how late is the last reservation for the lights?
7 to 9.
7 to 9.
I'll play.
You'll play.
I'll play. That's up there.
I don't know personally, but 9 p.m. I'm in pajamas.
You have any trouble getting lifeguards?
None. We actually had over 60 people apply, and I only needed to hire a handful of them. So we were shockingly turning people down. Same thing with camp applications. I had a stack, and we only need to, like I said, we only need to replace a couple of people that aren't coming back. We're really in a good spot right now.
Good. Anyone else? Anything else, Noreen, that you need to update on us?
That's really it. Come to our events, please. We have lots of them between the farmers market, all the concert series. Please come visit us.
All right. Anyone else? Colin, you have anything you want to add? Welcome.
UConn starts in 2 hours.
Yeah. It's going to be all pregame anyway. So
Talk about late.
yeah, I know.
True. I made that comment this morning. I was like, oh, I'll check the score in the morning.
Okay. If no one has anything else, do I have a motion to adjourn? Rodney, second. John, all in favor? So moved. Wow, that was one of our quickest